everybody has done a field watch. Everybody from Longines to Rolex, and today we're actually looking at one from Bulova. And this is going to be one from the Heritage Collection, the Bulova Field Hack watch. Now the Hack watch comes specifically from World War II, when it was important for units to really get timekeeping very precise, especially when they're doing something like bombing raids. And this is when the automatic field watch became popularized. Now there's a few things to consider when thinking about a field watch. One is going to be legibility, two is going to be durability, and in this case the third is going to be really the heritage behind it. Now to really give an honest review, I decided to come out here into the wilderness of Alaska. I did another field watch review out here, so forgive the audio if you guys hear some wind coming across. Now the Bulova Field Hack watch, when I saw this thing, I just loved the look of it. It just screamed military, and I am a veteran, and when I saw this I was like, all right, I got to get my hands on it. I got to see if it's as good as I think it is, especially for being an automatic watch. A lot of field watches these days are quartz watches, which are fine, or they're automatic watches that are really, really overpriced. So when I saw this, a automatic from Bulova, and Bulova has a great history. A lot of people really like to shit on Bulova, but I like what they're doing, especially with this Heritage Collection. This watch isn't overly big. It comes in at 39 millimeters, so it fits relatively small on the wrist, which is important when you're out here in the middle of nowhere, Alaska. Sorry, I'm like looking for bears and stuff. When you're out in the middle of nowhere, Alaska, it's important that it just disappears on your wrist. You don't want something to be overly cumbersome, right? You want it to be light, durable, water resistant, easy to read, and have great lume. This thing again comes in at 39 millimeters in diameter. The case of this is going to be 316L stainless steel, and it has like a grade matte finish, which I think again gives it more of that military heritage vibe. The case thickness of this is going to be just over 13, so it's not thin on the wrist, but it does have a double domed mineral crystal. But again, this thing is like $250, so I can kind of forgive the mineral crystal on this one. The strap on this watch is going to be a leather NATO strap. Sadly, the lug width on this is going to be 18 millimeters, so I can't put a chase strap on it, but it's still a great watch strap. I've been wearing this at work, and I'm a police officer, been wearing it at work for about a month and a half now, and it still looks almost brand new, so it definitely is durable. However, the water resistance is not the greatest thing in the world. This is one of the things that really bothers me the most about this watch. Is it is hacking, hand winding. Of course it's hacking because it's called the Hack. Hand winding, does not have a screw down crown, only has 30 meters of water resistance. I think this is a massive failure on Bulova's end, because it should at least have a minimum of 50 meters of water resistance, if not a minimum of 100 meters of water resistance. So I don't know what they were thinking by creating a field watch with hardly any water resistance. Now, is this thing going to be durable in the rain, in the snow, the sleet, as if I was a postal worker, right? The snow, the sleet, the rain. Probably. It'll probably be just fine, but that's not the point. The point is a field watch is supposed to be something that is extremely durable and water resistant, something I can take in any environment. In any environment. I should be able to go on the top of the mountain and it worked just fine. If I fall into this river down here, it should be just fine. I shouldn't have to worry about the water resistance of it, and that is what a field watch is supposed to be. So the water resistance to me is a huge, huge negative, but that's really about it. Now, even with the case thickness of 13 millimeters, just over 13 millimeters, it still sits pretty small on the wrist, slides underneath my sweater, no problem at all. Now, the case on the watch I think is great. Again, it has that grade 316L stainless steel. The dial I think is what makes this thing really, this is what caught my eye, is the dial. It's got a black dial, loomed indices all the way around. Then on the inside minute track, it has red indices. To me, that screamed heritage. I was like, God, that's just a good looking watch. The dial is matte finish, so again, more towards that field heritage military style. The hands match the case and the finishing with that grade, right? That gray stainless steel, and the lume on this watch is actually pretty good. I'll do a dark lume shot in the studio so you have an idea, because it's not dark out here. This clearly is only meant to be worn in a non-dress environment, in a relaxed casual environment. Again, it's designed for the outdoors. If you wear this thing in a suit, you'll look like a weirdo. So this is only meant for, you know, the outdoorsman, the everyday man, the man's man. Now inside the Bulova is the Miyota 82S0 automatic movement. Has hacking, hand winding, 21 joule, 42 hours of power reserve, and 21,600 vibrations an hour. So that second hand ticks at about 6 ticks a second. So it's not a high beat movement, but it is a workhorse movement. Now, why is hacking so important in this Bulova Heritage collection? Well, it's really not that important, but it is the heritage behind the hacking feature that makes it kind of unique, right? A lot of watches today hack, but this one specifically is called the hack because it beckons back to World War II. Everybody who was doing a bombing raid or part of a specialty mission would need to be on the same time frame. Now, this is not a Grand Seiko spring drive who is accurate to plus or minus 1 second a month, but it is accurate enough that just before a bombing raid, a bunch of the pilots could get together, they would set their times at the exact second. Everybody would synchronize their watch, so when they had a military raid or a bombing operation that needed to be exact within a few seconds of each other, they could pull it off. And this isn't what won World War II, but the military heritage watch, to include the hacking feature of the watch, was extremely important in carrying out these operations that ultimately did win the war. Now, what's my overall impression of the Bulova Heritage hack field watch? I really do love the way it looks. I love the subdued gray stainless steel case. I love the double domed mineral crystal. I wish it was sapphire crystal, but I understand why they didn't do a double dome sapphire. This is a more affordable field watch. Even if more affordable watch brands have offered sapphire, I get when it comes to things like being shatter resistant, normally you'd use something like Hesselite instead of even mineral, but this is just a more affordable. But the one thing that I just can't get past is the fact that this only has 30 meters of water resistance. I just think that's unacceptable for a field watch. So is it worth buying? Sure, but understand if you take it out in the field, it may not be as durable as you'd want. But it still is a pretty cool watch, and it does beckon back to that heritage with the look of the dial, the look of the case, that green NATO strap, sadly 18 millimeter lug width, so I can't put a chase strap on it. But overall, I think this thing is a hell of a find and a hell of a deal. If you've made it this far, do me a favor, hit the subscribe button. It's free, it doesn't cost you anything, but it really does help the channel. Hit the like button. When I come out in the middle of Alaska, I'm not alone. I got my daughter, Peyton, who's the drone operator, and my son, Liam, who is the tag along. Anyway, leave a comment down below of some of the things you guys would like to see. This is all things random, mostly watch reviews with some random stuff sprinkled in between. I'm gonna go die in my car now.